January 2025, Alaska. The wind came down the pass like a white locomotive, erasing the world in under 3 minutes. 1 second, the trail was a narrow ribbon of packed snow between shoulder-high spruces. The next, it was a howling nowhere, every landmark swallowed by a wall of glittering static. 5-year-old Elsie Matthews, 5 years and 43 days, she would have told you, was still in the exact outfit her mother had zipped her into at dawn, a scarlet corduroy pinafore with tiny black buttons shaped like bears, white tights, scuffed brown bunny boots, and the hand-knit white wool cardigan whose hood framed her face in a halo of fuzz. She had been picking lingonberries, humming Old MacDonald, when the gust hit. By the time her mother screamed her name, the scream itself was thrown back into her mouth like a fistful of snow. The search began within 20 minutes. Every able-bodied resident of Deadhorse flew or snow-machined to the last known coordinates. They fanned out in orange parkas, GPS units glowing like hot coals against the whiteout. Dogs barked, radios crackled, helicopter blades thumped overhead. But the storm had grown teeth. Wind speeds topped 70 miles an hour, and the chill factor sank past 40 below. Tracks that were there one instant were micro-sanded away the next. By nightfall, the temperature had fallen so low that flashlight batteries gave up mid-beam. Hope, a small and fragile thing, began to freeze. It was the trail cams, originally set by the Alaska Department of Fish and Game to monitor caribou migration, that finally spoke. At 1914, a motion-triggered Reconnex hyperfire bolted to a spruce 30 yards off the main path captured a single frame. Elsie, cheeks glazed with ice crystals, left mitten missing, right hand clasped to the black talon of a brown bear cub. Both children, because that is what they looked like, were walking calmly, side by side, as if crossing a playground instead of the Continental Divide. The cub's fur was silvered by snow. Elsie's white cardigan blended so perfectly that only the red pinafore floated like a flag between them. An hour later, a second camera, buried 2 miles deeper in the alder-choked draw, recorded the even more impossible tableau. The mother grizzly, tag number A314, known to biologists as Naujak, Inupiat for seagull because of the pale patch on her left flank, had curled her 800-pound body into a crescent. Elsie was tucked against the bear's belly, knees drawn up, hood still in place, the missing mitten now replaced by the cub's warm tongue. All 3 were partially covered by fresh powder, but the camera's infrared flash revealed the slow rise and fall of the child's chest. The storm roared, the bear's ears flicked, the child slept. At dawn, the wind abruptly surrendered. The sky snapped back to porcelain blue, and every surface glittered like crushed diamonds. The rescue team, now a 20-person task force with thermal imagers and a medevac helicopter, followed the breadcrumb trail of SD cards. They found Naujak first. She stood over the snow dome that had formed overnight, head low, ears flat, a low guttural rumble vibrating the air. When the lead ranger took 1 step closer, she lifted her lips just enough to reveal the yellow fence post canines. No one breathed. The cub, 50 pounds of indignant fluff, imitated its mother, planting itself between the humans and the mound. For 30 seconds, the wild and the civilized weighed each other across 10 yards of silence. Then the snow shifted. A small red triangle, the hem of Elsie's pinafore, appeared as she pushed herself into a sitting position. Her hood had frozen stiff. Frost coated her lashes like cheap mascara. She blinked twice, focused on the bear, and said in the clear, piping voice that only a 5-year-old owns, "Hi, big puppy." Naujak glanced back at the child, gave a chuff that sounded almost like a laugh, and stepped aside. Medics later calculated that Elsie's core temperature had dropped only 2 degrees. There were no bites, no claw marks, only a faint lemony musk in her hair and a single coarse guard hair woven into the cuff of her cardigan. When asked what she remembered, Elsie said, "They let me share their blanket." She meant the layer of insulative air trapped between the bear's fur and skin, a living quilt that had kept her alive at -45. The footage, once it was downloaded, stabilized, and reviewed, sent the scientific community into overdrive. Brown bears are solitary, easily spooked by human scent, and documented to kill small mammals that stumble near their winter dens. Yet every frame contradicted canon. Naujak had not merely tolerated the child, she had warmed her, shielded her, and, most startling, allowed the cub to remain in physical contact. One behaviorist likened it to watching a shark cradle a minnow. Hypotheses bloomed like summer fireweed. The simplest invoked the storm's brute physics, the bear's maternal circuitry, already primed by the presence of her own offspring, had misfired onto any small, shivering body. A darker theory suggested the child's high-pitched distress calls fell within the same frequency band as a bawling cub, triggering an automatic retrieval reflex. A third, floated by an Inupiat elder who drove down from Nuisut, held that Naujak was a memory bearer, an animal who had once been saved by humans, orphaned during a controlled hunt, raised at a research station, and was now repaying an ancient debt. The data set was too small to prove anything. The questions multiplied like rabbits. What could be quantified was the role of technology. Without the passive infrared triggers, the search grid would have been a blind zigzag across an area larger than Delaware. The cameras had functioned at 48 below through sustained 80-mile-an-hour gusts for 9 straight hours. Their lithium battery packs, wrapped in chemical hand warmers and duct-taped to the housings, had lost only 11% capacity. A white paper was already being drafted, remote sensing as a force multiplier in Arctic SAR operations. Back in Deadhorse, the story acquired the sheen of folklore overnight. A printer in Fairbanks ran off bumper stickers, "Earth Elders Have Your Back." A kindergarten class in Anchorage mailed Naujak a tray of blueberry muffins, addressed simply to the Grizzly, North Slope, Alaska. The state legislature tabled a bill to increase trail cam funding, then immediately tabled a counterbill to outlaw anthropomorphism in public schools. Elsie's mother washed the white cardigan 3 times, but the musk never fully disappeared. She finally folded it into a Ziploc bag and tucked it in the freezer, a relic too sacred to wear. Elsie herself returned to preschool with a new ritual. Every afternoon, she stands at the window, nose against the glass, scanning the edge of the playground spruce for movement. When teachers ask what she sees, she answers in the same even tone, "Just checking if my friend got her cub home." She is 5, exactly 5, an age when yesterday and forever are synonyms. Her pinafore still fits, her cardigan is still white, the memory of warmth against a blizzard is still the largest thing in her small, precise world. Wildlife officials have left Naujak undisturbed. Her GPS collar pinged a week later from the same drainage, suggesting she has not abandoned her den site. Perhaps she remembers, perhaps she does not, but the cameras remain, quietly guarding the trail, waiting for the next impossible thing to walk past in a red dress and a white sweater, 5 years old forever, hand and paw with the wilderness that chose, for one night, to be gentle.